people start lecturing us on how we should raise their children, our own children, that this is a discipline issue, that this is an upbringing issue. And when some of those people speak, you would think they are stellar parents, that their kids are the epitome of and yet we know some of their children. These are people who are in drug rehabilitation centers. We know their children. So when somebody stands up and says, oh, you must teach your child, you must tell your child what? Tell your child what? They need to examine what has annoyed Kenyans to the extent that people are openly wishing death to leaders. They have to examine how we got here. And the professor of law is here. As Manzo was saying, there is no law that says that in my freedom of speech, in exercising speech, I have to choose the nicest words to describe you. There is no constitutional imperative on me to be nice to you, Trevor. There is nothing like that. It is not illegal to insult someone. It is not. So people need to understand that when you are in a public space, you will be criticized. Even we are criticized. And I wish I was given an opportunity to speak in Bungoma, because I would have told William Ruto that the only thing I have in common with him is that we are both students of Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is easily the most insulted politician in this country, if not in the world. Every single day you wake up, there are people whose entire job description is to insult Raila Odinga. He has never given us instructions to go after people, to arrest people who criticize him or who insult him on social media. It is obvious that the kids have succeeded in getting under the skin of this government. Throughout the entire program of that funeral, people were talking about social media. They're saying, oh, we need to find ways to shut down this thing. These kids cannot continue to talk the way they are talking. But there's a problem, Trevor. If you don't address the root cause of why people are unhappy with your government, then you cannot stop people from criticizing it. So if you look at Mount Kenya, for instance, those of us, me, I admit that Mount Kenya is slippery for me. I tried to climb it with Baba in 2022. And we were not very successful. So I am not an expert. I wish Honorable Ruku was here. He's my advisor on Mount Kenya and my friend Kagushia. I wish they were here. They would tell us. But I'm telling you, I was in Bungoma during the holidays. Yeah. And the feedback is overwhelming that indeed the government has failed. The policies of government have failed. People don't see change in their lives. Life has become very difficult. Even the few people in the villages with pay slips, your regular teachers, your police officers, people have nothing to take home because of all this, taxation that has been introduced on them. There are programs that the president likes to trumpet. If you go to the village there, they are not working. And when people raise questions about your programs, Honorable President, please don't take it badly. For instance, I had a meeting with the CHPs in Nairobi here in December before we closed the offices. And they told us the problems even with this SHA rollout. He likes to trumpet it and claim that it is a success and that his critics don't want to see the success. But talk to the people involved in it. Yeah. The CHPs are being required to register people. They tell us, even the gadgets that they have been given, they hang 90% of the time. They had been told that they would be whitelisted by Safaricom, that they would not require data. If you talk to the people on the ground, it is different. We here, as senators, all of us here, you see, as we pay upwards of 30,000 shillings to SHA every single month. And if the argument was that, so we pay all this money to have universal health care so that people can access health care on the ground, yet we're still being called, and these MPs here can attest, we are still being called from hospitals. Yeah. People have been detained there because they registered for SHA, they are up to date with their payments, but they're still being asked to pay cash. Okay. These things are happening. So when the public raises these questions, it is not to say that, we hate the president or we want him to fail. We want him to succeed. These programs need to succeed because if universal healthcare succeeds, we have all succeeded. All right. But if there are hiccups, allow us to tell you that there are hiccups. Okay. Yeah. I became a member of an arm of government the day the people of Nairobi put me there as a senator of Nairobi. The impeachment of Gachagua was not so that we form a broad-based government. Gachagua was impeached because of gross misconduct and violation of the Constitution. And his case was an individual case. It was dealt with at that particular level. The question you asked, Trevor, are the sentiments on the ground positive or negative towards the president? And if you don't give proper feedback to the head of state, you are not helping him. If it is the people like Ojienda he's going to listen to, his goose is cooked, I can assure you. You asked him to speak. I use the road from Nakuru through Moroni. If I stop there to take a bathroom break and ask the people of Moroni about the situation on the ground in terms of the promises of this government, ask Tom Mojenda what happened to Moroni Mamboleo. Ask him. Are the people happy?
The contractors are back.
No, just
the contractors are back on site. 3 days ago.
Just write it down.
3 days ago.
He's saying 3 days ago because he knows I was there over Christmas.
No, 3 days ago.
Stop lying to the president, my friend. The truth of the matter is things are not okay. Trevor, if you want to know the clearest indication that the people around the president have noticed that things are bad and there's very little they can do to change his fortunes prior to 2027, you listen to what they are saying. They are no longer parroting his successes or perceived successes. They are threatening to violate the constitution. When you hear people like Kamket and Sudi say that it is possible that he loses the election and refuses to leave office, that is not somebody who is clear in his mind that he is popular and that he's going to win a second term. That tells you that they are in panic. They know that they are in trouble. The only way to win a re-election, Trevor, is promises kept. The things that you told us would not happen under your administration, can they stop happening?
Yeah.
And I would advise the president that this year, I wish all of us as leadership in this country work on the software problems. The software is the issue, Professor Odinga. You are not going to celebrate building roads that we then use to zigzag between mortuaries and police stations to look for our loved ones. If you are talking about housing, how can you be telling us about housing? We want to know those houses where people are being tortured, where are they? Who is running those houses? Those are the houses you need to tell us about. Don't tell us about roads and highways and when people are in mourning, families are spending Christmas without their loved ones. Work on the software.
Yeah.
When you hear the speeches in Bungoma, you know, people want to run Kenya with the Kanu software. This phone here, Mwami, is an iPhone 13. If you install software from Kanu in 1982, there is no way you are running this. Software and hardware have to work hand in hand. We're not saying we don't want roads, but you have to work on the software. We want a country that respects the values of the Constitution.
Okay.
If there is no transparency, if there is no democracy in this country, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. So to end, places that responsibility in the party leader. Listen to what Raila Odinga is saying. Raila Odinga has left specific and clear instructions to all of us, including some of the people who are speaking there, that first of all, ODM must retain its identity as a political party. Number two, that we have not given up the quest to acquire power. Otherwise, you fold up your party and go. Political parties exist for the sole purpose of winning power through democratic means. Every single time since ODM was formed, we are celebrating 20 years this year since this party was formed. Every single election, ODM has run a candidate for president, and it's not going to be different. So these colleagues of mine, some of them in parliament, some of them outside parliament, have, you know, freedom of speech, like I said. Let everybody air their views. And sometimes they want to placate the president. I remember in one of those meetings, I think it was Taita Taveta, Junet himself said, it is his mouth, it is his politics. It's fine. It's good he said that. The position of the party on coalitions is given by the party leader. And he will bring whatever proposals for 2022. I remember, Manzo, when we were having those discussions on forming NASA, those discussions were happening between the party leaders. You understand? And after an agreement was reached, I remember sitting with your Secretary General in a line like this. We were like 26 SGs when we were signing the NASA coalition agreement in KICC. I have not signed any agreement, and I can speak authoritatively. There is no agreement between ODM and UDA about 2027. And I'm telling you, Trevor, I've said on this show, and I will repeat it. If you are unpopular, it doesn't matter how many leaders you bring around you. We will lose the election with Ruto, even if we supported him as ODM. I am very clear in my mind, because the people are clear in their minds on what a government is supposed to do. And for as long as you're not addressing those things, it doesn't matter. We lost an election with 26 parties. I remember I've said it here on this show, Manzo. Even the logistics of just sitting the principals here was a problem. We had, in one county, you have 3 principals. One county, like Meru, you remember we had Kraitu Murungi, we had Munya. All of them are principals. But we still came up short. That tells you that if you don't deliver on your promises, if institutions such as the Catholic Church are calling you out for a culture of lies, you have unkept promises, you are kidnapping young people, I am telling you, it doesn't matter who supports you. Okay. You will still lose the election.
All right.
So for me, these leaders that are speaking, let them exercise their freedom of speech. Because at the end of the day, ODM is a democratic party.
Okay.
People are allowed to express themselves.
So you're not taking Ojienda's invite when he says you joined him again?
No. Ojienda knows. Ojienda knows my position on this issue. First of all, as a member of parliament, I have said, when you are elected into parliament, you are a member of government as a member of an arm of government. And we are the people who cede our own power to the executive.
Okay.
When Ojienda goes to prostrate himself before the head of state at State House, so that he can get Mamboleo Muhoroni Road done, and yet he knows the people of Muhoroni pay taxes. You don't need to do that.
Okay.
You don't need to be friends.
All right. Manzo...
As a political party, and even opportunistic, because don't throw yourselves at people. Allow people to come to you. It is a bit desperate for you to be saying, oh, we're going to look for Gachagua.
No. But he came to he's the one who declared
this is what I am saying, Omwami. Even within Wiper, because I've worked with you.
Yes.
Even within Wiper, I know your constitution does not give you, Maanzo, the power to say some of the things you're saying. It is a discussion that happens at a higher level. Allow these principles, because you and me can fight here, but we will be brought together by our bosses. So I don't understand why you can declare that ODM and Wiper are done. We are not done.
No.
We need to learn from the mistakes we made in the past. One of the things that I have learned in the past, I'm beginning my 8th year as SG in February of this party. One of the things we've learned in the past is that we have a responsibility to advise our leaders. And the beauty with the party leader, Raila Odinga, is that he always falls back to his troops to advise him. And he listens to the advice. The advice that we failed to give in 2018-2022 was that you were associating with a government that was extremely unpopular, and that we were going to end up carrying the burden of incumbency when indeed it was not our government. This is the exact same situation that we find ourselves in. But the responsibility on the people who believe in ODM, who believe in the values of this party, is to not make the same mistake we made last time by keeping quiet and saying, oh, let us just keep quiet, this thing will work out. It did not work out. We are not going to make the same mistake. We have a responsibility to say, and I've said it here, it doesn't matter if you are not performing as an incumbent, if you are doing the things that this government is doing, it doesn't matter who supports you. You will still come up short. And I've given you the example of what we did last election. We had a coalition of 26 political parties, including a sitting president. We still came up short, Trevor, because we did not address the issues of the people. And the incumbency, the presidency, all those things that were happening, including the bodies showing up in Rivayala, the state of the economy, the demolitions, all of those things, we ended up carrying that burden. And I'm telling you, for as long as I'm SG of ODM, I am sworn to give proper advice to my party leader. I cannot go to Bungoma and be told by the people who supported Ruto that they no longer see him as somebody they can support. Then I come and report the opposite. I am not helping my party leader.
Should your party insist that this is the direction we're taking, what happens?
We will cross that bridge when we get there. I can tell you for a fact, Trevor, at the end of the day, my responsibility is to put things on record so that history can record that I warned that this is something that would still hurt us as a political entity. And honestly speaking, if you look at the political dynamics in the country right now, it would be very foolish for ODM not to field a presidential candidate. It would be extremely foolish. If you look at the math, President Ruto was declared president by a margin of 200,000 votes. All Raila needs to do, all ODM needs to do is to keep all its constituencies. We have not lost any of our constituencies.
Okay.
He has lost almost half of his constituency in Mount Kenya.
Okay.
How do you then support somebody? How do you help somebody when you can help yourself? That is something that does not make any sense.
That's why I say that...
You've also been accused of being an opportunist.
I feel terrible for members of the party because even during that period between 18 and 22, people were quietly and silently expressing very serious concern about some of the dalliance we had with government and saying we should do this, we should do that. But because people sometimes, the good people within the party, they really choose to keep quiet. One of the things you need to notice is ODM, in the National Assembly, we have 86 members, and we have 20 members in the Senate. So that if you see the people who speak, repeatedly making these very outrageous comments, about 2027. And they know for a fact they don't have the power to say those things.
Yeah.
They are no more than 5 members of parliament. I can tell you, if you speak to the other 81 who are just quiet, and I want to call them out because, you know, this keeping quiet is what got us into this problem now. Don't allow the agendas of this world to be the one to shape the narrative and the view of the world about what ODM stands for, you know? So all of them this year, as SG personally, I'm not going to keep quiet. We are also going to say things. The way Junet says he has a mouth, I'm also going to use my mouth.
Okay.
So they have the democratic right to say these things. I also have a mouth.
Okay.
And the democratic right to say that if you make that mistake, given on my own analysis, ile kidogo siasa ile najua, and the feedback that I am getting, things are not going to work out.
What happens when you become the lone voice in this? Because you,
I am not the lone voice. That is the beauty.
Yeah.
That is the beauty. I have told you.
There are those who actually been saying that ODM itself will crack in the middle.
I have told you that ODM is not going to crack. I can assure you it will not. Because we have a culture in the party where people are allowed to express themselves. And whenever matters become extremely divisive, there is always a meeting of the party and people now agree that yes, we had divergent opinions, but now this is the position.
Yeah.
I happen to be a member of all the organs of the party. Ojienda is only a member of one organ of the party, and he never attends meetings of that organ, of the parliamentary group. I have never seen Ojienda at a parliamentary group meeting. That is where all these views are taken and put together, and guidance is given from the leadership of the party. So allow people to speak. I have no grudge against anybody who says, for him, hatoki, wacha akae hapo, because they know what they are getting from those statements that they are making.
Okay.
For me, I have a responsibility. I have a responsibility that is greater than agenda because I am the SG of the party. My role foremost is to defend this institution.
Yeah.
We don't have anything else. We have only this political party.
Okay.
If you look at the way Kenyans have placed faith in this party to be a defender of democracy and openness, it is not about power for power's sake.
Okay.
We will never have a situation where ODM thinks that we just want to win. No,
okay.
We want to do certain things to fix this country, and we can only do it with the right people.
So before
they are not permanent positions. I don't think that it is written anywhere that SIFUNA must be the senator for X number of years. I am happy and honored for the 5 years that I've been given. I'm not here campaigning for re-election. You are not re-elected depending on your tribal math or whatever it is you're doing. You're re-elected because you delivered on your promises, you served the people, you made the lives of the people better. Ojienda must know that SIFUNA is not dying to be re-elected. I can very well go back to my practice as a lawyer, Honorable Ojienda. I am telling you this.
Do you want to resign?
So you cannot. No, we're talking about you making these claims about. You can just speak your mind without having to think about who will like it or who will not like it.
Okay.
Because that is the truth. Okay. That is who I am. I've always been like this. Did I start this tribal math with Manzo?
Trevor, I tried speaking my mind and
so
expelled me from ODM.
What you do, agenda. and when you say you defeated us, you see, as a leader of a political party and the deputy SG of Wiper is here, we as political parties have struggled a lot with the law on keeping discipline within the party. But the one institution you will not defeat Ojienda is the people. And I told you this in Kisumu. When you go back, and I'm happy Trevor was there, when you go back to 2027, we will remind you, the people will remind you of you bragging here how you defeated Raila Odinga's party in court because of the shenanigans with the judiciary. I am telling you, you will not defeat the people. You will not defeat the people. You'll be honest with the people, and the people will re-elect you.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter for me, Trevor.
Yeah.
As I've said, you know, there are people who keep saying, by the way, in all the 8 years, for all the 8 years I've been SG of ODM, every single day I've been threatened with being kicked out as SG of ODM. And I'm still here, 8 years.
Is there a threat of kicking
No,
you out?
this is what guys do. Every time you speak freely, like the way that I do, I say, he's on his way out. On his way out where? I am in ODM to stay. And there is nobody who was anointed to remain in any specific position forever. I don't intend to be the only SG ODM has. There can be other people.
If the heat becomes too much, will you resign?
That's what I'm telling you. It doesn't matter. You can't look at everything from a position of what you will lose. Can you just be yourself and speak the truth? So it is not about losing the Senate of Nairobi or losing the SG seat. At the end of the day, these positions are not for anyone. They are for the people.
If the positions become untenable, will you resign?
How will they become untenable? Because I am the person who is right with the membership of the party and the values of the party. Unless I go against the values of the party. Every single thing that I say has been said by Raila Odinga, and he himself has confirmed here. He had it. Baba said we must retain our identity as ODM.
All right.
That is my job as interacted with that formula. Well, we go back in session. Actually, now we are back in the city and in the offices. I would want to have an engagement with the CRA themselves. They need to come before us and explain themselves. I will have a meeting with my county governor so that we have a position as Nairobi. I know that my deputy party leader, who is also the governor for Mombasa, has already expressed concern, but there are certain principles that we agreed on, even with the National Assembly, during the mediation on the division of revenue bill last year. We said that as a principle, counties must never receive money less than what they received in the previous financial year. And if you look at the formula, I think Nairobi is losing about 0.5% of the equitable share. And the problem with that is that although the CRA claims that they have recommended a higher allocation, I think of 425 billion, they know for a fact government never follows their recommendations. Ojienda's government will never support devolution in the manner in which it is proposed by the CRA. If Ojienda is in government here and he says he's there and he's not moving, as the Treasury, he says his friend Badi is the CS Treasury. Can Ojienda assure us now here that him, because you can't speak from both sides of the mouth. If you are a true supporter of devolution and you are in the government, as you say, can you get us the 425 billion so that no county can lose money? So don't just tell us you are in government. Government is not about positions, Ojienda. This is why we, as leadership in ODM, must remind you that ODM is the party that birthed devolution. Baba is called Baba because he births things like the new constitution, and also is the father of devolution. So as a position, we in ODM will remind you of our values. That is who we are. These other things you're telling us, that's not who we are. So as a senator for Nairobi, I will want to understand from CRA, because this revenue sharing formula is usually one of the most divisive. We've been told, and we remember stories of the last formula, Maanzo.
Yes. And
there was all sorts of shenanigans from government then to try and force the hand of senators. This time round, we have to sit and agree. Will I be the senator who presides over a reduction in the percentage share of Nairobi? I don't think that is going to be something that I want to do. That's not why I was elected. I was elected to make sure that I grow the path for Nairobi so that the county governor can deliver on his promises to the people.
Yeah.
So after those consultations and the explanations from the CRA, which to me, I don't understand, it's a constitutional body that nobody listens to.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense that Ojienda's government just throws out the recommendations of the CRA.
Do you believe you've done your oversight role properly when it comes to management of Nairobi County? Because there's a lot of people who've been complaining in terms of service delivery, water delivery, garbage collection, everything. You
see, the beauty with the Senate and oversight is that every single thing that we do is done in the public. You can follow proceedings of the Senate live or on TV. The number of times that the county governor of Nairobi has appeared before the Senate, the number of times I personally have visited the county projects, including hospital facilities, including stadia, including all these things. They are there and they are documented. For as long as I can execute my job, my mandate, then the rest of the questions you have to ask the governor, including the state of the roads. My job, as you have rightly pointed out, is to ensure that I push as much as possible for there to be no excuse, that there are sufficient resources that are delivered on time for you to be able to deliver your job. If you don't do it, that's now up to you.
Okay.
To speak truth whether the sky will fall. Don't be afraid. We will not be afraid to lose anything that we have right now, because all of these things are bestowed upon us by God. It's only God who knows the plan. So nobody's going to scare us into silence. We will call it the way it is. I am allowed to be wrong. It is also a democratic right to be wrong. I have been wrong on many things before. That will not make me afraid of being wrong. You see? And fortunately for me, I still have some life. If God is gracious and gives me long life, I have a few more mistakes to make. It is allowed. So all I want to say, I remember when the president gave a State of the Nation address, he appeared. That State of the Nation address, if that is what Ruto was doing, if he actually believed in the things that he was saying during that State of the Nation address, things would be different for him. Because I remember him saying that he has learned that listening is a full-time job as a leader, and that you must respond to the questions that have been asked of your administration. He even came close. He even condemned the killings there, but stopped short of issuing an apology. We in the Senate passed a motion, which I believe is the Mwakenya that he needs to turn around his fortunes. If he just takes that motion from the Senate, where we were saying, put a stop to this abuse of police power, apologize for the kids who were killed, including the ones who were killed outside Parliament there where he was speaking, offer reparations, bring new sets of regulations to regulate how police conduct themselves during these spats of Mandaman. Allow the rule of law to take place. If somebody has broken the law, Trevor, arrest them and take them to court. The reason they abduct these kids is because there is no law they can charge them under. They know it, because it's a constitutional right. And I remember that funeral, Wetangula's mom's funeral. I went a few days earlier. There's a father there called Father Osianju. Father Osianju reminded us that all of us will be like in that coffin one day. You should not be afraid of death or being depicted as a dead person. In fact, Father Osianju made us repeat to each other that Sesinde Bandio. In Kibukusu it means, I will also be like this. Okay. I will also be like this, and this is a given. So
impeached Gachagua. He lost over 10 million followers of Gachagua, and he's not likely to gain them back, even when he uses vigilantes. Nowadays, they are hiring vigilantes to terrorize Gachagua meetings in central Kenya. It will not work. He has lost the mountain. He will never get it. And if Raila Odinga doesn't support his politics, he'll be a very bad number in the next election. Therefore now, his government is hanging on Raila's lips. And that's why he should now stop abducting Kenyans. And when Raila told him to stop, at least we have seen a stop to it. And therefore, if I were him, I would not even dare run in the next election. I would just ask Kenyans, where I've wronged you, please forgive me. You know, all of us love our country. We want our country. You see, very unusual things have happened in this country which have shocked the president. You misuse the youth, they overrun us in Parliament. When they came to Parliament, they didn't say you come from what party. They smashed all the cars which were in the car park, whether it is from, you know, whatever divide of politics, whether from Wiper, ODM or UDA, the car was smashed. And then they told the president, sign the finance bill, we will be with you in State House on Thursday. I can assure you nothing can stop the people. The sovereign power belongs to the people. And the truth of the matter is President Ruto has lost Kenyans.
Okay. Prof, is that the truth of the matter?
He has lost Kenyans.
Losing or gaining ground?
Trevor, I don't know what you did today, but you have brought naysayers, you know. You can say nothing good about government. And let me speak in support of government objectively.
That was not the question.
Objectively. I want to be objective.
That was not the question.
Let me use an objective lens. And the objective lens is, SIFUNA, by the way, you referring to President Ruto and yourself as being students of Raila Odinga. I'm the foremost student, a latter-day student of Raila Odinga.
Foremost and latter-day are not the same thing.
No, I'm latter-day because I'm on the ground and I understand all those positive things that define Raila's historic guidance or leadership of the party. At least I've learned from you as well, because I came into politics a bit late. But let me say this, Trevor, that President Ruto has gained over the last few weeks, since June this year. President Ruto has gained, first of all, of course, because he has had very positive political dalliance with ODM. That is true. I cannot deny that. But from that dalliance, you can see that the president has also touched every corner of this country through his broad-based approach to governance. President Ruto dismantled the cartel that sought to control governance in terms of regions. And for me, that is important. The impeachment of Gachagua was just a pointer to the fact that the president wanted to involve the entire country in his government. And we have seen what happened after the impeachment. We have a new cabinet. The new face cabinet has brought in not just ODM bigwigs, but has also brought individuals from various extractions in this country. We have faces of Kenya that we did not have in government before. That is important. But further, let me also point to the fact that the new underpinnings that defined the shift from NHIF to SHA have largely been resolved. I have success stories in Kisumu, Trevor, where we have people going to hospitals and getting treatment, and SHA is working. We have the framework under the affordable housing scheme cannot be overemphasized, because now we have over 2,884 houses ready for occupation by civil servants who hitherto had no access to affordable and decent housing. And I think we must laud the policy on affordable housing, because what it has done, it has revolutionized the way we look at housing in this country. And SIFUNA will tell you that in the ODM manifesto, right from inception, housing was one of the pillars that ODM was building on as it sought to ascend to high office. And therefore, we cannot fault the president for things that we can all see as a success. The president has managed to weave his political, in my view, his political game very well. If you go to Western, the Kisii, the Luhya Nation, the Luo Nation, the Maasais, you have every community in government. And even in central Kenya, you've talked about gangs and dropping in Maina Njenga and others into governance. Maina Njenga and any other political grouping in central Kenya also have votes like any other Kenyan. Every vote is the same in this country. Okay. SIFUNA's vote is the same as Maina Njenga's, but there's no distinction merely because Maina Njenga belongs to a previous sect. He has the same vote. Okay. So let the president use whatever political means he has to regain part of central Kenya. Okay. I do not think we can fault the president. He's saying that we cannot. It is clear, Senator SIFUNA, that when you gain in Western Kenya, whether you're working with Natembea or you're working with the Wetangula, you are in the end you're looking at the votes of the people, because those are leaders. Yeah. But you look at their following and the votes that you can get from that region. Okay. If elections were held today, Trevor, President Ruto would get a second term. And both of them know that even as they speak, and he says that President Ruto should not run, President Ruto is the foremost candidate and will win a second term in this country. He is the leader to beat, he's the kind to beat.
There are some of his
SIFUNA by the way is in government.
Even in 2027,
President SIFUNA is part of ODM.
You will not distract me.
So that they can remain debt-free. Because these are people in the past who have helped Mount Kenya region form government. Therefore, he knows very well his status, that he has appealed in his case for impeachment. No one knows how exactly it is going to go. But for him to be viable politically, and I'm sure he knows this, he must have a political vehicle, which is a political party. That's why Senator from Nairobi is telling you, without a political parties are the vehicles you use to form government. Without a political party and coalitions,
is that party Wiper?
Government.
A direct question. Is Wiper going to form an alliance with Rigathi Gachagua?
Yes, Wiper will form an alliance with Rigathi Gachagua. Will form a big alliance, which will win 50+1, round one.
What does that mean for your dealings with ODM and Azimio? Because the Secretary General seems surprised. I think he thought you were still with him.
No. ODM and Wiper today are in a coalition. We are in a Azimio coalition. It's not been, Azimio has not been killed. But what happened? ODM decided to save the country. When Ruto was overrun through parliament and was about to be run in State House, if Ruto was overrun by the youths in State House, you run away. If people storm State House, you run away to another country or you seek refuge elsewhere. And it means then we are left, stateless. Probably the army will take in charge of the country. And that is what ODM was making sure doesn't happen. And the country can scrape through to 2027 when we can have other elections. The government of Ruto failed the day parliament was overrun. And there is every other possibility. Kenyans, unhappy as they are, with unkept promises, with the Thwake Dam stopped months ago, and looking very difficult, to run the country with all these stalled projects and international contractors here, losing money every day. Kenyans are losing hope every day with Ruto. And therefore, let ODM do its game.
Are you breaking ranks with ODM? Another direct question. Is Wiper going to break ranks now?
We have never fought with ODM. In fact, the instructions from my party leader was that we should not attack ODM, nor should we attack Raila Odinga. And the instructions from Raila Odinga to his people is that Kalonzo has stood with us.
Yeah.
No one attacks Kalonzo, no one attacks Wiper. After all, we are all looking for a united nation.
But you're chatting
we are
your own
looking
path.
for a country.
But you're chatting...
That in 2027 they want to walk into the opposition. Because if he tries what they want to try at home, by working in a coalition with Gachagua, they'll obviously form the opposition. That's good advice. So tell Kalonzo Musyoka that he will be in the opposition if he tries that approach. But number two, Trevor, which is important, Senator SIFUNA has talked about political parties and possible coalitions. I see a possible coalition between ODM and UDA before 2027 And Senator SIFUNA is correct.
And you've been saying this for the longest time.
Yes, I've been seeing. I see very far.
Let's hear.
I normally see very far. And I will tell Senator SIFUNA that, as he has said,
who will be the presidential candidate?
He said the party leaders,
yeah.
ODM will support President Ruto for a second term. And I will tell you this, that Senator SIFUNA will be advised by the party leadership. He has confirmed that he will be advised. He will be advised by Honorable Raila Odinga that, and I'm sure on 28th of February this year, Raila Odinga will become the CEO of the African Union Commission, AUC. He will win the election. He'll move to Addis Ababa. I will remain here with SIFUNA here as the SG.
To deal with him.
And he will be advised that the way we are going in 2027 is support President Ruto for a second term. ODM will be a major player. I think the coalition agreement may include a possibility of having a deputy president from ODM. I think then we can have position shared between ODM and UDA for 2027.
What happens if
that will be working? That will be Professor Kithure Kindiki, of course, is squarely in government. I think that will be a negotiation that will happen at the point, because there are various. Government is big, Trevor, and there'll be arrangements that will drop from work around, and they can deal with.
So who in ODM now that you're in the prediction mode?
No. Let me tell you this: 2027 is a different ballgame. UDA, ODM will form a coalition. They'll agree on the structure. The structure will include a cabinet secretary, a prime cabinet secretary, of course, and a chief cabinet secretary. All the framework will ensure that there's inclusivity. But there's one possibility, Trevor, that I will also speak to this morning, that there's a possibility, and SIFUNA has prophesied, that when a party like ODM Kenya or Wiper is in the state that it is in, where it is seeking out partners, it's like a partner, it's like a spinster.
People are looking for us.
So the possibility that you could easily come into government is real. That you don't be surprised, Trevor, if in a few months Kalonzo Musyoka joins government. Do not be surprised.
No. Okay. Can I say this? You can see that...
Join government will not join a government which has lost more than half of his supporters. That I can assure him. And I can also assure our agenda. Kalonzo Musyoka, who is the leader of Wiper Party, will also be fielded as a presidential candidate by Wiper. And we are free to form coalition arrangements with any other parties of the day at that particular moment. So our main idea is to form government and serve the people of Kenya better than President Ruto did after he lied to Kenyans over so many things which has not fulfilled. And I believe that, you know, Kenyans are also looking for a government similar to what Kibaki one time formed. In fact, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is going to have a Kibaki moment. He is one of the most experienced leaders in this country. He is honest, and he's not likely to lie to Kenyans as Ruto has done.
Is he likely to join government? Like
we will never do it. We will not join a lie singing government. How can you join a singing ship and you can see it is singing? You are going to sing with the ship.
So what happens if he does? Because, you know, this is a house of records. So these things, they'll come back.
I can assure you now, as the Deputy Secretary General of Wiper Party, and, you know, as a person who sits in the kitchen where the politics are cooked, he will not do it.
Okay.
You form government.
Trevor, surprises happen.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised when my learned friend and colleague Senator Manzo comes back here to an announcement that Kalonzo Musyoka is in government. And he will also just read about joining. Because
we'll form government, not join government.
As we know, you have tried forming government for the longest time possible, and the opportunity is here now.
President Kibaki tried many times to form government and finally succeeded.
I would advise you to join. But Trevor, on a more serious note, I think politics, as I always talk about the political crinkum crankum, it is the twists and turns that define politics. And Senator SIFUNA, I think, is on point. He's served for 8 years now as SG, and he knows very well. There are times political decisions are made without the participation of the lower cadre and of the officials. ODM joined government, it was not clear how Wandai and Badi were appointed as cabinet secretaries. We learned of it. And initially...
ODM donated. It never joined the government. It has no agreement with the current government.
You can imagine, a member of Wiper is more informed about the situation in the party than somebody who claims to be a member of ODM.
If it was a donation, what did they donate? They had no one
they donated. No. They donated experts.
You are embarrassing as your SG.
ODM knew that CS Mbadi and CS...
Joe and Oparanya.
Yes, they were joining, the four were joining, and let me tell you, Joe and Oparanya in government are crucial. They are very, the jigsaw puzzle is complete with Joho, Oparanya, Mbadi, Wandai. Remember when Jubilee was given a chance to nominate? We have nominees from one community. That shows you how diverse Raila Odinga is. And that we have learned from him, you and I.
Please don't include me in any of your learnings, Professor. Because your learning...
Party has left, and a coalition cannot be dissolved when all political parties leave. And for the people talking in ODM, the likes of Junet and Kaluma, it is what they had for breakfast that morning before they go to meet president. They are not speaking for the party at that particular moment. The people who speak for the party is the Secretary General and the chairman of the party.
All right.
You have seen the chairman of ODM tell Ruto, if you are not stopping the kidnappings...
The party leader.
You see, the party leader telling, that's the party leader of ODM telling Ruto, if you are not stopping the kidnappings, we are not together. This is not we stand for as ODM.
Correct.
And there be no coalition between UDA and ODM. Trust me, ODM is just assisting Ruto to get to 2027. And ODM to stay together must have a presidential candidate. Okay. Otherwise, it has no business be a political party.
All right. Prof, as we wind up on this topic.
Trevor, you can see what the trick that Manzo is pulling. Manzo's party, which has no stealth, is hoping to rely on ODM.
No.
They hope to split the vote, or they're looking to ODM as the bigger brother to hope to ascend to power. You'll only ascend to the opposition. In fact,
with ODM.
But they are in the opposition now.
We are in the opposition.
They were in opposition.
In 2027, you will stay in the opposition. You will not ascend to government. Let me tell you that. But Trevor, most importantly, the push and pull in ODM, Honorable SIFUNA has views that he believes are not in consonance with the views held by Junet Mohammed, who is squarely in government with me. And we have ODM CSs in government. We have Wandai, we have CS Mbadi, we have CS Joe, we have Paranya, we have other CS. We have a framework of governance within ODM, including the organs he says I do not sit in, but there I sit through proxy. I know
you
what
send a PA. You send
your PA will not be allowed to.
I am wired, Trevor, so I know what goes on in most of these. And that is why when Honorable SIFUNA tried to expel me the other day, I came back. I defeated them in court. I came back. And I'm squarely in ODM to stay. To stay. My feet are right there, though I came late. But I'm right here. I'm government at the same time. Trevor, let me say this, that the party needs to pull together and to stick together. That is important for all of us, so that we are able to build together. But also, the coalition talk is a reality, that ODM and UDA must pull together to deliver President Ruto in 2027. But most fundamentally, it is important that both parties work on a structure that will address concerns, key concerns, including the concerns of the youth. And he has a very strong Gen Z support, this man you see here. And that is why at times he finds himself at crossroads. He needs to speak well.
You are the only one who's
and number two, remember, in Nairobi, he also has a large Central Kenya support. He has to be a balanced senator to be able to be re-elected.
And he has a large Eastern support.
That is not how you get re-elected.
No. You
get re-elected for serving the people.
For Embakasi East, for instance.
Very soon. I want to tell Sudi, who I know is a firm believer of President Ruto. And in fact, it was Sudi and a few others who only believed Ruto could become president, and they worked hard and they achieved that. But I also want to tell him that they failed Kenyans in terms of their promises. They have failed Kenyans in terms of developing the country. They have failed Kenyans in terms of kidnappings and the threats like the ones he's issuing, to voters. That the sovereign power belongs to the people. And so long as, in fact, we should have IBC as quickly as possible. And I want to tell young Kenyans to register as Kenyans. Take your IDs, the chiefs. Go to the chief's office and register as a Kenyan. And then go to IBC. It is still operational even if it has no commissioners. And take, register as a voter. And then when the biggest duty of a citizen, when it comes to voting, please vote. 8 million Kenyans did not vote. That's why we are in this trouble. I am very sure the 8 million Kenyans who did not vote will now not vote for Ruto. And therefore, I can assure Sudi, so long as they continue in the trend they are doing right now, they have lost the election. Okay. They have lost the people.
Gentlemen, I'd like to hear your views on this issue of the way more than 47 actually counties will get lower revenue shares should the proposal by the Commission of Revenue Allocation get approval. And in this formula, they're saying that counties with high population will receive more, of population accounting for 42% of the revenue allocation, up from 18% in the current formula. Prof, is this a proper formula for the counties? And as senators, will you support this?
Trevor, the Senate, under Article 96 of the Constitution, does oversight, but above all protects devolution. And as senators, you know that the Division of Revenue Act and the committee that was formed between the National Assembly and Senate took time to deliver to the people because of the difference of the about 20 billion Kenya shillings at the time. And the tie was because Senate supported the higher sum to counties. We want counties to be properly funded so that all the projects set out under Schedule 4 of the Constitution as devolved, those functions, can be delivered to the people by counties within a framework that is financed, that ensures that counties are well funded. So we, or as a senator, let me speak to the defined position of CRA that intends to reduce funding to counties, and I've seen Lalit, the governors of Samburu and other governors speak to it, I would not support any formula that deducts even 1 shilling from counties. Counties are already underfunded. And as Senate, we must speak to the abilities of counties to deliver for their people, their budgets. And if those budgets are never met, the plugins do not work. I'm vice chair of the Committee on Public Investment. And every year when we have the Auditor General's report presented to us, we have plugs we have funds that were meant to be given to counties, they're never given in time, and we have problems trying to oversight counties. So what government must do, it must style up, we must, CS body must ensure that counties get their allocations as defined. Already, the sums that we voted in after the negotiations is not sufficient to run counties.
All right.
So we must speak for the counties, we must protect the population. And I think every senator has that obligation.
SIFUNA?
Yeah, as you know,